Since this is the 40th anniversary of Friday the 13th, I thought I'd go back and review Part 5, a film I had skipped over 2 years ago when I had reviewed this franchise, simply because it didn't fit into the overall story of Jason Voorhees, who's not even in this film. Nonetheless, though, here's my review of Part 5, A New Beginning. Taking place several years after the events of the final chapter, this film now sees a teenage Tommy Jarvis, and he's tormented by nightmares of mass murder simply because he ended up killing Jason Voorhees in the previous film. And I have to say, this is a bad movie all around. Bad acting, bad screenwriting. The music is not that great. And generally, Jason Voorhees is not even in this film, like I previously stated. This is a film that I always thought was one of the weaker movies between Part 4 and Part 6, simply because of everything that goes on in this movie. You see, Tommy Jarvis is moving to numerous psychiatric hospitals. He's transferred to the Pinehurst halfway house. And not just that, he's in a group of teenagers that are pretty much out of their damn minds, especially Vic. Like what happens to Joey in this scene here.
The first murder of the movie is not by Jason, but a guy wielding an axe named Vic who kills a boy named Joey over a chocolate bar.
Well, if that's the way you feel, forget it, Vic. Just forget it. But I think you're really out of line.
What the fuck, man? All over a chocolate candy bar? Seriously? This guy murders Joey all because he has some serious issues. And not just that though, but it comes to find out at the end of the film that the murderer, who's actually was a copycat killer of Jason Voorhees, turns out to be the father of Joey. In other words, he's the EMT guy that sees his son all butcher up like halfway through the film, and he goes on this killing spree. And I have to say is that for a horror film in this franchise, it's certainly one of the weakest movies. And not just that though, but the guy who plays Tommy Jarvis, John Shepard, this was his first film. Seriously, what the hell? You don't cast an unknown actor for a big franchise like this. This guy is terrible. He's wooden. He comes off very vanilla. And he is all around not great at all. What else can I say? This was his first movie he ever did, and it shows. Tommy Jarvis should be a strong character, but throughout this film, you see him kind of spazzing out. And I must admit, it kind of makes sense for Tommy Jarvis considering what he went through when he was a child. But seriously, they really couldn't get a better experienced actor. Everybody else in this film is forgettable. There is a young black kid in the movie. He's decent enough, but other than that, I really can't say anything else about these characters. This is just the same Friday the 13th of previous years. And it is a film that I've spoken to people over the years. They highly regard this movie as they say it's a pretty weak film. I do have to say so myself. And everything that goes on, then it's warranted. Not only that though, but I believe this one would have been much more interesting if Tommy Jarvis turned out to be the copycat killer. Only because it wouldn't make sense in the overall story. I mean, you would think for a guy to go through that, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, a few years later, the guy snaps. Tommy Jarvis becomes this copycat killer of Jason. But no, it goes nowhere. And make matters worse, at the end of the film, we see Tommy Jarvis in the hospital once again. And he puts on the Jason mask, which is completely different. It has blue triangles on it. But he puts it on, he's behind this woman, and he has a knife in his hand, and the movie just ends. And that completely goes nowhere. I mean, Part 6 was something completely different, but they didn't even take that concept of this film, what happens at the end of this movie, and apply it to the next film. It just seems it's like a giant waste of time. And this is a film that came out 35 years ago, and me going back rewatching for this review, it's not great. It's probably a film I really don't care about in the overall story of Friday the 13th. And when you take Jason Voorhees out of the mix, then you lose that key component to what made the franchise interesting in the first place. I'm giving this film a 4 out of 10. Generally, this film is like a waste of time. It doesn't bring Jason Voorhees back. A large chunk of the film is by bland acting by John Shepherd. And not just that though, what I found interesting about this film, this was Miguel A. Nunes Jr.'s earlier film appearance. So I found that interesting. But other than that, this film's not really compelling. It doesn't do anything entertaining in my opinion. It is a film that's largely forgotten by the fan base of Friday the 13th. And I don't blame them for largely forgetting this film like ever existed. And that's my review of Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this film. Do you love it, hate it, or in the middle? How would you rank this film compared to the other films in this franchise? And speaking of this franchise, it's currently still in development hell. There hasn't been a film in over a decade. The rights are still being battled out in court, so who knows when we'll get a new film. But I'll probably say it'll be sometime in the next few years. Alright, this is Film Guy 172 saying, peace out.